I wrote this back in 2002 when I'd been driving taxi for about 2 years. I did that for 7. I dug this out because I think I may be back in that business pretty soon. It's kind of a poem, I guess. It's called Goddess of Strays. Sometimes the streets have the character of the retired war hero I pick up at the Cactus, mostly quiet, crippled, and addicted to pain meds. At other times, the streets are cruel pricks, like the Hispanic gentleman the bouncer at Shorty's put into my cab. After a mile of drunken threats, I swerved to the side of the road and yanked his door open. At knife point, I told him to get out of my cab or I'd drain his sangre into the gutter. Often they are full of grotesque revelry, like the high school coach who laughed as he gave me $30 for a $6 jaunt to take him and a working girl, an ex-student of mine, he tells me, to the cabana. On this night, the street belongs to the lost and the bereft. It's 5:30 p.m. In the maddening clots of traffic, I'm dispatched to 6th and Front, the rescue mission, for a woman and her young son. She tells me they've been stuck there since 1 o'clock for the free clinic they host. She gives me a voucher from an aid organization, good for 3 stops. Her ribs have ached for 2 days. She hasn't slept 1 hour uninterrupted, she says, and needs x-rays. I drop them at St. Luke's. Ask for me when you're done, I tell her. I'll hold on to your voucher. On the way to my next pickup, I see Walker, near Harry Hill. At 6:45 p.m., there's a lull in business, so I buy a pint of milk and sit on 17th and State calling kitty, 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 but the thin gray cat doesn't show. It's early yet, and there's still a lot of cars in the lot, but I had the time. I was in the area. I had to try. It's nearly 8 o'clock when I'm flagged down at the Egyptian on Capitol and Main. The radio tells me someone at Luke's is waiting for me. This won't take long, I tell the dispatcher. How was the flick? I ask my cute youngish passenger, making talk, being friendly, smiling for a tip, which she gives me. Then I hustle back to the hospital for the woman and her son and her aching ribs. So, are they fractured? I ask as I lift her kid up for her and strap him into the back seat. They couldn't tell, she replies. Someone else needs to look at the films. On our way to the Rite Aid, I risk getting personal and asked how it happened. Domestic abuse, she says simply. I glance over and see that pain can turn a human mouth into a lipless thin line. Is he out of the house? I ask. No, I am. At the pharmacy, I agree to watch her kid while she's having the script filled. He doesn't cry much at first, although, as my nose informs me, he's past due for a diaper change. We wait in the parking lot for 20 minutes or so before she returns and informs me that the pharmacy said she needs a medical card that the hospital neglected to give her. Without the card, the 9 pain pills that will let her get a night's sleep cost $8 and change. She's out of cash. I pull a battered sawbuck from my pocket. She stares at my hand for a moment, then grabs it quickly, fearful that I'm going to change my mind. You're an angel, she gushes against her ache. No, I'm just paying rent on the planet, I say dismissively. Go get your pills. The boy starts crying, so I dig a small package out of my pack in the trunk and start handing him pieces of cookie. That settles him down somewhat. I might cry too if I was sitting in my own shit and hungry at the same time. On the third leg of our journey to her friend's house, I advise, don't go back to him. Many women do, several times, before they learn. Oh, I don't think I'll do that, she replies. I'm not convinced, but I'm just a goddamn cab driver. What do I know? I drop her and her kid, write the total on the voucher, then run back downtown to look for business. It's 2:30 a.m. The bars around 6th and Main have been closed long enough and the night is cold. The last of the hangers-on have finished their drunken yammering and drifted away. At the curb, my car grumbles against the frost, providing just enough heat to keep it off the windshield. My radio is turned up in case I'm called, but it's midweek. Most likely I'm done making money for the night, so I wait for the show. Finally, from piss-scented doorways and brown glass-strewn alleys, all 6 of them whip out in acrobatic glory, tumbling and whirling like a furry clown circus. Though it's been cold, I see the cat consortium appears to be healthy. They're eating okay. I'm not needed here, so I cruise back towards 17th and State. Along the way, at the corner of 10th and Idaho, I see Walker again. I don't know his real name. That's just what I call the dreary old man I keep seeing walking around different areas of town. The colder the weather, the faster he walks. I pull alongside and, not for the first time, ask if he needs to go someplace. I won't charge you, I promise. He stops, stares at me for nearly a minute, then continues on his way. When I had first met the thin gray cat in the parking lot behind Burger King, he had an unusually loud voice. He was skittish, wouldn't come near me, so I left milk in the base cut from a pint carton. I assumed he was drinking it after I got out of his way, but didn't know. 2 or 3 times I left tuna held back from a convenience store sandwich. As each night passed, his voice became steadily weaker and his coat more matted. It's been 3 nights since I saw him. Tonight, the 4th, after 20 minutes of calling, I fear the worst. I find the depression in the earth deep between bushes, now winter stripped of leaves that he used for shelter. There he lies, what's left of him anyway. I set the unopened pint of milk next to him, temporary monument to a displaced soul, and wish him a peaceful journey. As ice crystals begin to fall from bastardly cold skies, I stand over a dead cat and weep a silent, angry prayer to the goddess of strays, final hope of the hungry, the fucked over, and the dispossessed. At that moment I wonder if what little joy we find, if we are so lucky, is merely clownish cavorting from piss-scented doorways and glass-strewn alleys. I return to my cab, crank up the heater, and listen to soft radio static, guilty of refuge that so many others don't have.